How do you start from a small peace lily like this and grow it into a large plant like you see here on my left? In this video, I'm going to show you my tips, tricks, and hacks on watering, fertilizing, light placement, repotting, and so much more. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. Let's get started. In order to have long-term success with our peace lilies so it gets large like this, we need to start off with a healthy plant to begin with. There's a few things that I want you to look for when you first purchase a peace lily. The first thing I want you to look at are the leaves. You do not want to see any yellowing leaves. You don't want to see brown on the tips of leaves. These are indicators that the plant is already going through some sort of stress, and we want to avoid that. The second thing I want you to do is check the roots of your plants. Very carefully take your plant out of the pot. We're looking for three things here. One, ideally, we will see white roots. Secondly, we can see brown roots, and brown roots may be okay. That could be just staining of the potting mix that is on those roots. If they're firm, if those roots are firm, you're okay. If those roots are mushy, that is a sign of overwatering, and you will want to not purchase that plant. If you see any black roots at all, that's a sign of death of the roots, and we want to walk away from that plant as well. The third thing I want you to look at is the flower. The flower on peace lily is unique. We call it a spadix. A spadix is a fleshy flower deriving from a stem. And then the white inflorescence behind the spadix we refer to as a spath. I want you to look at the spadix. I want you to look at the spath. Make sure they're healthy as well. You do not want to purchase a plant that has brown or black spots on the spadix or the spath. An additional thing that you need to know about purchasing a peace lily is that these plants are mildly toxic to humans and also to animals. This may not be the plant for you if you have young children or pets that tend to chew on leaves. All parts of this plant has a compound in it called calcium oxalate. These are crystals that are mildly toxic to humans and animals as well. Next to watering, light requirement of peace lily is probably the most important topic we need to discuss. These plants are native to the forest floor. They receive dappled sunlight throughout the day, and oftentimes they're in very moist environments as well. We want to replicate that as much as we can. These plants tend to do best in east-facing windows. If you can give them direct light in the morning, they're going to do very well for you. If you do not have an east-facing window, you can place them in a south-facing window, but it needs to be indirect sunlight. You want it just on the edge of where the light is coming in through the window, that line between bright sun and then the shady part of where the light comes through the window. That is where you want to put this plant. If you put this plant in a north-facing window, they'll live, they'll survive. They'll be nice, lush plants. However, you will not get the flowers that you would if it was in an east-facing window or a south-facing window with indirect sunlight. If you put this plant in direct sunlight, it will eventually die on you. It's too much light for this plant. The most important topic that we can discuss when we talk about peace lilies is watering. Now, with a lot of houseplants, you can water them, wait several weeks, if not a month, water them again. Not the case with peace lily. These plants are used to moist environments. They like a constantly moist but not saturated soil. So what I like to do with my peace lilies is water them thoroughly to the point that there's water coming out of the weep holes of the bottom of the pot. Once I see that, I stop watering. Then I'll use the finger check rule, and I'm not going very deep when I check these. I'm simply going to take my index finger, run my index finger down into the potting mix to the middle knuckle, and if it feels dry, I'm going to water. If it still feels damp, we can hold off a few more days. On average, this large one here, I'm watering it roughly once a week, where my other indoor plants that I have, I may be watering those maybe every 3 to 4 weeks. Peace lilies like the same temperatures that humans like, so this makes it an ideal plant for the house in terms of temperatures. They like a temperature somewhere around 20 to 21 degrees Celsius. That roughly correlates to somewhere around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. They can survive in temperatures down into the 50s. However, If they get down to around 45 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to start to see some damage to the foliage of this plant. On the other side of that temperature equation, they also do not like really hot temperatures as well. If this plant is exposed to temperatures above 90 degrees Fahrenheit or roughly 30 to 32 degrees Celsius, you're going to see some wilt damage as well on these plants. So keep it indoors. Those ideal temps here again are going to be somewhere between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or roughly somewhere around 21 degrees Celsius. If you're going to get a peace lily as large as the one on my left, starting with the small one like this on my right, you're going to have to repot that peace lily roughly once a year or so. So this peace lily here is in a small 4-inch pot. The next step for this one is to put it into an 8-inch pot and then a 1-gallon pot. And then eventually, maybe 3 or 4 repottings down the road, we're at this 3-gallon pot like you see here on my left. Now, how do I know when it's time to repot a peace lily? You'll want to take the peace lily out of the pot, examine the roots. If the roots are beginning to wrap around the pot, you need to repot your peace lily. You're never going to get a large peace lily starting with a small one if you do not repot. Eventually you're going to run out of space for that root mass to grow, and that is going to kill the plant. So this is an important step in having a peace lily that lasts several years. Now you can see here on this one definitely needs to be repotted. The roots are definitely root bound. They're wrapping almost completely around the pot. I picked up this small peace lily at my local retail garden center exclusively for this video, and I saw that and I picked it up just to show you what root bound looks like. Now if your plant is root bound like you see here, one thing you can do is root prune your plant, because once the plant is root bound and those roots are growing in a circle, they're going to tend to continue to grow in a circle even if you put it in a larger pot. So you'll want to lightly cut those roots, even maybe reshape the direction of the roots as well with your hand so those roots are growing out and not into a circle. A pro tip for you for getting your peace lily to bloom more often. As the blooms begin to spin and they look weathered, you can deadhead those blooms off, and that is going to encourage new flowering to occur on your peace lily. So if you've got just a handful of flowers, say 1 or 2 flowers, and they look spent, and you want more flowers, simply remove the spent flowers and you'll see more flowers emerge from the vegetation. It's important to properly fertilize your peace lily so that you have nice green foliage and nice white flowers as well. Now there's a whole host of fertilizers on the market that are very good for indoor plants. There's liquid fertilizers, there's organic fertilizers, there's synthetic prune fertilizers as well. My preference is to use a synthetic fertilizer on all of my indoor plants, and here's why. I prefer Osmocote slow release fertilizer because it feeds for 6 months. All I need to do on these smaller pots like this 4-inch is simply add 1 teaspoon of fertilizer and it feeds it for 180 days. On larger pots like the one on my left here, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in this and it's going to feed it for 180 days. It has all the nutrients that I need. It has nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but it also has those micros as well, things that we don't often think about plants needing, things like molybdenum and sulfur. It has it all in the right amounts, and you're not going to burn your plant by putting too much fertilizer on it. I find oftentimes homeowners with liquid fertilizers, they may get that mix a little what we call hot, too much concentration in the water, and that's actually detrimental to the plants. If you're going to use an organic fertilizer, worm castings are fantastic for this as well. You can simply top dress with worm castings, and then as you water, the nutrients that are in the worm castings will filtrate down through the potting mix, feeding your plant just like Osmocote. Just like with all indoor plants, you will occasionally want to wipe down the leaves of these plants. In the wild, this is not necessary because you have rain falling on these plants that naturally knocks off dirt and dust off of the leaves. Indoors, we do not have that. So about once a month, what I want you to do is wet down a paper towel and lightly wipe down the leaves of these plants. That's going to do a few things for you. One, it's going to give the leaves a more lustrous appearance in the house. Secondly, it's actually a benefit to the plant. By removing the dust off the top of the leaf, it's able to absorb more sunlight. The more sunlight that it absorbs, the more sugars it can produce, and the more vegetation and the more flowers that it's going to provide for your house. If you have a tip, trick, or hack that you use to grow your peace lilies in your home, please leave those down in the comments below. Here on the channel, I like to think of us as a community of learners, and I would love to learn something from you, the viewer. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor. Until next time, happy gardening.